Yes, good morning, students. As we know that we are going to discuss our fourth chapter relating to the chemical kinetics, and under that one we may already discuss about the rate of reaction. What is the rate of reaction? How it can express, how it can be shown, how we measure the data for these one. So for this day we are going to discuss about the rate law, how we determine the rate of the reaction exactly in our laboratory. So for this concern we may be noted the rate of reactions experimentally. Before going to read that one, firstly we may be emphasized on the factors affecting the rate of chemical reactions. What are the main factors on which a chemical reaction depends? The first one under this one is concentration, and the concentration of the reactants especially, because as we know the rate of reaction is dependent on the change in concentration, and especially on the change in concentration of a reactants. If we suppose any kind of example of two reactants, suppose as I take the example, reactant A can react with B, that can taken in a test tube. That time we observed that initially the concentration of the reactants goes on decreases and the product formation goes on increases. If we consider the concentration or the reactant's name, that time if we add dilute HCl to the solid sodium carbonate that taken in a tube, we observe that initially the carbon dioxide gases evolved at a very high speed, and as the reactants goes on increasing to react, then the further evolution of the carbon dioxide gas goes to be slowed down. What does it mean? This indicates that the reaction rate is related to the concentration of the reactant species, and the concentration of the reactant species goes on decreases with the time interval. Is it clear? So we can say that whenever the concentration of the reactants goes on increases, the rate of reaction goes on increases, and the concentration of the reactants goes on decreases, the rate of reaction goes on decreases. Why it occurs so? Because as we increases the concentration of the reactants, more and more number of particles are involved for completing that reaction. More and more number of particles tightly packed come to closer each other, and they strikes to collide each other. During that collision more and more product formation is be there, or you may be say that is moving on the completion of the reactant, completion of the reaction, not the reactants. Now reactants are going to be decreased because on the completion of the reaction there is no reactant, all that reactant can converted into the product. So our rate of the reaction is dependent on the concentration. If we have more concentration of the particles, that time more participation of the reactants to complete the reaction. So we can say that the rate of reaction is directly proportional to the concentration of the reactants. Is it clear? You maybe remember about the law of your mass action. Mass of the substance get reacted is directly proportional to the molar concentration of the reactants. Is it clear? So we can say that the rate of reaction is directly proportional to the concentration of the reactants, not the products. Then comes to the next one about temperature. Temperature is also be affecting the rate of reaction. As we increases the temperature, we know that the kinetic energy of the molecules goes on increases. If the kinetic energy of the molecules goes on increases, that means the particles are colliding more and more, they are more vibrating, they strike to each other, and during that striking and collision the product formation goes on increases. It means fastly the product is formed. and fastly the product is formed means increases the rate of reaction, and reverse is vice versa. With the decreasing temperature, on decreasing temperature, the molecules kinetic energy goes on decreases, or maybe they get freeze out, they don't try to move out and not participated for the chemical reaction. So we can say that rate of the reaction of that particular reaction goes on decreases with decreasing temperature, increases with increasing temperature, sin directly proportional. So temperature is also be directly proportional to the rate of reaction. Suppose we can take the example of simple example. H2 plus O2, hydrogen reacts with oxygen to form the water molecules. If this reaction is occur at standard temperature pressure condition, that time the rate of reaction is be standard. But if we increase, or you maybe say that the reaction is occurs at high temperature, the rate of reaction is also be high. So you can say that the rate of reaction is directly proportional to the temperature. On increasing temperature, rate of reaction is definitely goes on increases. Is it clear? Comes to the next one, presence of light. This is also be same as the temperature, but this will applicable only for the photochemical reactions, those chemical reactions which occurs with the help of light only, and the light is only the component which can initiate the particles. Whenever light is falling, emission of the radiations maybe goes on increasing. Clear? So as we are taking the example of photosynthesis, more light means more the rate of photosynthesis. So we can also be see that light is also be directly proportional to the rate of reaction, but only for a limited kind of reactions, those are photochemical in nature. Clear? The next one is about the physical state. Physical state of matter is also be affecting the rate of chemical reaction. Definitely we know that chemical reactions occurs only whenever the old reactant bond get to be broken, old bond breakage and new bond formation for the product formation. So if those bonds, old bond breakage is occur early, the product formation is also be early. If it takes time, or you maybe say that the dissociation energy for the reactants is more, requires more dissociation to break out, you maybe say that rate of reaction becomes to be slow down. So we can say that if our reactant is solid, liquid or gases, as we compare all these one, that time gaseous particles have loosened connection between them. Solids have a strongest force of attraction, and strongest force of attraction requires so much amount of energy. So much amount of energy means rate of reaction is low, least number of particles are participating for the solid, and more number of particles, because gaseous particles are always been random motions, so more and more gas particles are participating for a particular reaction. Okay, so we can say that physical state is also be directly attached to the rate of reaction. Now comes to the surface area. Increasing surface area also increasing the rate of reactions. For this one you can also be take the example of a simple one, pouring of your soup, hot tea in a cup or in a saucer plate. Definitely the rate of reaction is high in a saucer plate. Rate of reaction related to the coldness of the tea and soup, which one is getting more easily cooling. Clear? So a cup have less surface area. Less surface area means less number of particles are participating for the product formation. For that example we don't have any kind of the product, but our aim is to convert hot tea or coffee or a soup into a cold coffee, soup or a tea. Is it clear? Whenever we kept that hot coffee or soup in a saucer plate, it acquires a large surface area, and whenever we sip it again, surface area increases and that surface area increasing the rate of reactions and the hot coffee or your soup it be cool out. Is it clear? Chemically, you can take example of our iron block. If you want to react a iron block with any other of the acid and that one, then time the reaction for that iron block is rate of reaction is less than that of the iron powder. If we are taking the iron powder, grinding powder of the iron, that time that grinding powder of iron have more surface area, and you maybe say that the rate of the reaction for that grinding material is more as compared to a block of the iron. Block of the iron took time for the reaction, or you maybe say that rate of the reaction for that particular reaction is low. Is it clear? So we can say that reactants concentration, temperature, presence of light, physical states and surface area can affect the rate of reactions, and all these are counted as a presence of catalyst. Catalyst is also be another kind of the factor. Catalyst is a chemical substance which enhance the rate of reaction generally. No doubt we have the negative catalyst which can decreases the rate of reaction, but general concept catalyst always be enhances the rate of reaction. So as these are involved, these are not participated in the reaction as such, they may be recover as such, but they can used for initiating the reaction or increasing the rate of reaction. If they can increase the reaction rate, so we can say that catalyst can directly affect the rate of the reaction. Is it clear? Any kind of confusion? Now how the question is asking in the board exams or in the test papers and all that one, the simple one. No one asks about the factors affecting the rate of reaction, but the very short questions related to this one, given a reaction, the reaction is occur at this temperature and the another one is occurring at 25 degrees Celsius. Clear? So you can be compare according to the temperature range, which one is higher, that have the higher rate of reaction. Then related to the concentration, given the reactions of the solid, liquid and gases, which one is having higher rate of reactions, you can compare or can solve out all these kind of the reactions for a particular page. Clear? So comes to the next about the rate law. How can we measure the rate law and what is the rate law? Actually the rate law is the expression of your rate. As we say, rate of reaction is directly proportional to the molar concentration according to our mass law of mass concept, mass action. And rate law is the expression of the relationship of the rate of reaction to the rate constant. Clear? What is the relationship between the rate of reaction to the rate constant? So firstly we should know about the meaning of both these words. Rate of reaction, as we know, change in concentration with respect to the time, and rate constant, the same one, it's also be known as the rate. Actually it is equal to the rate of reaction when the molar concentration of the reactant is taking as unity. Clear? So you can be differentiate the reaction rate and reaction rate constant. Rate of reaction is the change in the molar concentration of the reactant per unit time, and rate constant, it is the constant of proportionality and equal to the rate of reaction when the molar concentration of each reactant is taken as unity. So you can say that the rate constant is independent of the molar concentration of the reactants and depends only upon the temperature. Is it clear? So how can we express the rate law? Rate law expresses the relationship of the rate of a reaction to the rate constant and the concentration of the reactant raised to some power. Clear? Now you can take the example of a reaction so that you can clearly understand. Suppose a simple reaction, a reactant A react with a reactant B to produce the product C and D. Clear? And here A, B, C and D. These are the molar coefficient of these one. So now you are able to write the rate expression. As we want to write down the rate expression for these one, delta A upon delta T, because delta A rate of change in concentration, so minus B upon T is also be reactant. Now according to this reaction, molar coefficients are A and B. Now for our rate law, what we say? Experimentation. Experimentally we want to be verify that whether this reaction is directly proportional to the molar concentration of A and B with the power of A and B exactly or not. If it's be different, we may be measure out. Clear? So we can write down that the rate of the reaction is directly proportional to the molar concentration of A and B. This square bracket used against A and B, these square brackets are used only for the molar concentration. If you noticed clearly that in rate expression, if we are not writing square brackets, it doesn't matter, where we are just using A upon delta T or delta A upon delta T. Clear? So according to this one is the rate law. Rate is directly proportional to the, this one is the proportionality constant and molar concentration of X and Y. So we have to be measure out the value of X and Y, whether these X and Y is equal to A or B or equal to 1 or 2. Clear? So reaction is xth order in A or yth order in B. This one, yth order for the B. So these are the order, and if you want to be find out the order of the whole reaction, we may be plus out sum of the stoichiometric coefficients X plus Y is equal to the total order of the reaction. And if we want to be find out the order of the reaction in terms of A, that is only xth, in terms of B it's yth, and if the value of X is 1, that time reaction is first order in terms of A. If the value of Y is also be equal to 1, that it will be equal to the reaction is equal to the first order in terms of B. Okay? So how we measure? Reaction is X plus Yth order overall. If the value of X and Y is 1, that time it may be first order in terms of A, first order in terms of B, and overallly 1 plus 1 it's a second order reaction. So how can we find out these first order and second order? For that understanding we took a example, a clear cut example. Copied the data from somewhere. So our reaction is fluorine reacts with the chlorates, and in the data of the reaction we are noticing molar concentration of the fluorine in 3 different experiments, molar concentration of the chlorates in 3 different experiments, and we noted out the initial rate of the reactions according to their rate expressions in terms of moles per second. Now what happens in all these 3 experiments? Now we have to be choose out one of the reactant in their constant formation and variation of the other reactant with respect to those constant concentration, and constant this one to this one. If you observe clearly in experiment number 1 and 2, clear observation in experiment number 1 and 2, if you observe clearly, you observe that the concentration of the fluorine in these 2 experiments is same. First experiments also have concentration of fluorine 0.10 and second experiment is 0.10. Same in all these. It means concentration of fluorine is constant. Clear? And what about the chlorates? Related to these one, whenever the concentration of fluorine is taking constant, that time the concentration of chlorates 0.01 in first experiment and 0.040 in the second experiment. It means increases how many times? 4 times. Clear or not? It increases 4 times. Now what is the effect of on the rate on increasing this concentration? Whenever we are taking the constant concentration of fluorine, concentration of chlorates increases by 4. And what happens to the rate of reaction? Rate of reaction is also be from 1.2 into 10 raised power 3 to 4.8 into 10 raised power minus 3. It means the rate of reaction is also be increases 4 times. Is it clear or not? So you can say that whenever the concentration increases 4 times, the rate is also be increases 4 times to the initial one. So you can be say that the reaction rate of the reaction is directly proportional to the concentration of this chlorate. If the concentration of this chlorate goes on decreases, the rate of reaction definitely goes on decreases. And if the concentration of the chlorates goes on increases, the rate of reaction goes on increases with the same response as the concentration. Concentration increases 4 times, rate of reaction increases also be 4 times. So this one is about the chlorates. Now we have to be choose out. In our first attempt, what's we take the constant? We are taking fluorine as a constant concentration. Now it's turn to be taking chlorate as a constant concentration. So as we observe from the example, in experiment number 1 and 3, the concentration of the chlorates is constant 0.010. In third also it's 0.010. Now whenever we are taking the constant concentration of these chlorates, what happens to the concentration of the fluorine? In first experiment 0.10 and in third experiment it's 0.20. It means increases from the initial. And how much it increases? 0.10 to 0.8. It goes double 2 times. Clear? Always be taking so much concern or precautions to write double or twice. Actually double is different and twice is different. Is it clear? So here the concentration is twice. Double. Twice the concentration, it means the rate is also be twice. 1.2 into 10 raised power minus 3 to 2.4 into 10 raised power minus 3. Again you can say that whenever we are taking chlorate as a constant concentration, the concentration of fluorine is also be increases. How much? Directly. If it increases twice, the rate of reaction is also be increases twice. So how can we write down our rate law? Rate laws. This one is rate law expression. And previously, as we write in our first lecture, that was rate expression, not the rate law expression. Is it clear? So according to the reaction, our rate is equal to rate constant into molar concentration of our reactants with raised to the power of their molar stoichiometric coefficients. Is it clear? So if we want to be write down the value of x and y, we again write down our experiments, what we observe. As we double the concentration of the fluorine by taking constant concentration of the chlorate, our rate is also be, yes, double. If the concentration of the fluorine is double with respect to the constant concentration of the chlorate, rate is also be double. If it's be triple, not given in this one, that time rate is also be triple. That time you may be say that rate is directly proportional to the concentration of fluorine. Clear? 4 times. That's why directly proportional means 1 only. And what happened to the next one? If the concentration of the fluorine is taking constant, that time quadruple the concentration of the chlorate can quadruple the rate of reactions, or you may be that 4 times the concentration rate is also be 4 times. Again, it's directly proportional. Is it clear or not? So what will be the value of y? Y is also be 1. Is it clear? So you maybe write down the rate expression. Again, rate is equal to K into concentration of fluorine and concentration of your chlorate. It's the power 1. 1 maybe you may or may not be right. Clear? Is it clear or not? Getting this point, how you calculate this x and y, how you taking the constant concentration of these one, this to this. Clear? So this one is the notation, and this method is known as the initial rate method. We have rate of reaction initially to finding out the rate expression. So comes to the next, how we read this, how it occurs. This one is the atomic representation of the same reactions. Green colored atoms of the fluorine, 2 atoms, F2, and these are the molecules of chlorate, ClO2. Cl is this and O and O2. Is it clear? They combine to form this one. So how we write down the rate constant, rate law? Actually, the rate law is always determined experimentally. No hypothetical or not according to the molar stoichiometric coefficients in their balanced formation. It's always be determined experimentally. Clear? So the reaction order is always be defined in terms of the reactants, not in terms of the product concentration. Reaction order is always be taking in terms of reactants, not in the terms of product concentration. Is it clear? And the order of a reactant is not related to the stoichiometric coefficient of the reactants in the balanced chemical reactions. It's not always be occurring that as the value of the number of moles along with the reactants that always be mentioned in their order. No, order is definitely found by experimental determination, whether that one is involved in the reaction or not involved in the reactions exactly. Clear? As in our previous example, F2 plus 2ClO2. Here's stoichiometric coefficient shows 2 for a balancing. Clear? So we have to find out whether the power of molar concentration is equal to 2 or not. And experimentally, as we find out, rate of reaction is equal to the rate constant into the molar concentration of fluorine and chlorates, not in the concentration of their stoichiometric formations. 2, and the power is only 1 for the chlorates, because there is no problem with the fluorine. In balanced equation, fluorine is also be 1, and in the rate law it's also be 1, but the concern goes to the value of the chlorates, concentration of the chlorates. Actually, by balancing, the chlorates have 2 number of moles, but experimentally we find out that the concentration, molar concentration of the chlorate is only directly proportional by the power of 1, not by the power of 2. So this one is its rate law, how it measure, and the method is known as initial rate method. We have initial rate of the reactions to finding out the rate constant and other molar concentration. Clear? So we may also start the next one for more practice. Actually, what is given? Determine the rate law. Firstly, we have to determine the rate law and calculate the rate constant for the following reactions. So to solve this one, we have the data, we have the reactions. So firstly, you have to write down the rate law expression. How can we write down the rate law expression? And then after we find out from this given data rate law expression. Is it clear? So here 3 different experiments are given, 3 different concentration of H2O8, 3 different concentration of iodides is be there, and 3 initial rates are given. You want to try? Firstly, find out those experiments in which concentration of H2O8 is constant and in which the concentration of ion negative is constant. If you observe clearly, 0.08, 0.8, it means for these 2 experiments 1 and 2, the concentration of H2O8 is constant, and for I negative, experiment number 2 and 3, the value of this is constant. So you have to be studied out the variation of these experiments with their concerned reactants and then concerned rates. Clear? So as you observe from experiment number 2 and 3, the concentration of iodide 0.017, 0.017, the concentration of this iodide ion is constant or equal in both the experiments, in experiment number 2 and in experiment number 3. And with respect to this, the concentration of H2O8 0.08 to 0.16 increases? Yes, definitely increases. And how much? Double. It's twice of the previous one. Now what happens to the rate? 1.1 into 10 to the power minus 4 and 2.2 into 10 to the power minus 4. It means you may be say that whenever we are taking iodide concentration as a constant molar concentration, the concentration of your H2O8 goes on increases by 2 times, and also the rate of reaction is increases by 2 times. You may be say that reaction is directly proportional to the concentration of this H2O8. Directly 2 time increase, 2 time rate increase. If it's been increases 3 time, rate increases 3 time. Is it clear? So directly proportional. And now comes to the experiment number 1 and 2. The concentration of H2O8 constant 0.08, 0.08 constant. Now what happens to this one? 0.34, 0.17, half of the previous. And if you want to from 2 to 1, that time it be double. And the rate is also be measuring in the same form, 1.1 to 2.2. If you want to be measured from second to first, that time the rate of reaction is twice. Rate of concentration twice, 0.17 to 0.3, double. Rate also double. Is it clear? So you may be say that the rate is also be directly proportional to the concentration of iodide whenever we are taking the concentration of H2O8 constant. So by observing this one, now we are able to write down the rate expression. Our rate is equal to rate constant into molar concentration of H2O8 and iodide by taking their molar coefficients X and Y to find out the order of the reaction. Now according to our concept, according to our efforts, we find out that whenever concentration of iodide doubles, rate is also be doubled in our experiment number 1 and 2. Clear? And the same one, you maybe say that which one is be proportional? Iodide is directly proportional. What we say is double the concentration of iodides, this. So 17234 doubles the concentration, rate doubles in experiment number 1 and 2. So directly proportional to the concentration of I. So you can be say that directly proportional means the value of I is 1. Clear? Same you can find out for the X. Doubles the concentration of H2O 0.8 to 1.6, doubles, rate is also be double. So here you can be say that the rate of reaction is directly proportional to the concentration of H2O8. It means X is also be 1. Clear? Or you may be say that the reaction is first order in terms of H2O8. first order in terms of I negative or iodide, and overall the reaction is of second order because the sum of X and Y becomes to be 2. Clear? So this one is our expression of rate law. Up to this one, we are able to write down only the rate law. Now, according to our calculations and questions, determine the rate law. We may determine this one and now calculate the rate constant. So, finding out this K value, rate constant, reversing this one is equal to rate upon the molar concentration of the reactants. So, our K is equal to rate upon my molar concentration of your S2O8 and iodide. So you can be find out for any ones. This one is the formula. Now you can be able to find out the rate constant value for experiment number 1, 2 and 3 for any one. And you may be further find out that the value of these rate constants is always be remains constant for a particular example. Not changing, minor differences. Error 0.01. Is it clear? So you can be find out if we want to be measure for the first experiment, rate is 2.2 into 10 raised power minus 4, concentration of your S2O8 is 0.08 and concentration of your iodide is 0.034. By putting the values of these for the first experiment, what will be the answer? You may be calculate. Rate is 2.2 into 10 raised power minus 4 upon 0.08 into 0.034 and the answer will equal to 0.08. This one is the rate constant. If you want to be find out for the second experiments, that time you may be took out the value of 1.1 into 10 raised power minus 4. Here you can take 0.08 into 0.0017 and you find out that the answer should be same. You may try. Answer should be same for second and third experiment. Is it clear? Have you got something or not? From my side, I am trying to will. So, how can we write down the first order reactions? First order reaction means the reaction which is only dependent on the molar concentration of a single reactant. A reactant can convert it into a product, or you may be have two reactants but only one reactant is responsible for the product formation. That time you may be say that the reaction is directly proportional only at the concentration of one reactant and considered as a first order. So this one is the simple example representation for the first order whenever a reactant get converted into product. How can we write down the rate expression? First one, as we learned in our first lecture, rate expression, yes, the change in concentration of A with respect to the change in time. Square bracket is used for the molar concentration. Clear? And how's we write as according to the rate law? According to the rate law, rate is equal to K into molar concentration. Is it clear? If it's be first order, it means the power of A is 1. So this one is the representation whenever we represent our first order reactions. Sufficient for today. We may continue this first order reactions experiments and their derivations for initial and final concentration, how can be utilized and how can we find out the half-life period or time period of these ones. We may discuss all these one in our next lecture. Till then you may be revise this one. We may be continue our next lecture from this first order reactions, how we measure out these, how we determine the rate law for that one. Till then you can revise your initial rate methods, discussing various kind of examples. You have books, lot of the problems are there. You maybe try and solve. If you are facing some kind of problem, you can ask to me and call to me. Till then, have a nice day. Stay at home, be safe, but don't forget to subscribe if you want to further lectures of this series. If you want to get the previous one, you maybe contact us in our contact number. Thank you. I will send you the assignments related to these methods to you. Till then, goodbye.